In this lesson, you will learn how to identify angle pair relationships formed by transversals. When two coplanar lines intersect, they form four angles with special relationships. One of the relationships these angles may have is a linear pair. Linear pairs are two angles with a common side whose non-common sides are opposite rays, or more simply, two angles that together form a straight line. In this, we have four linear pairs. They are angle 1 and 2, angles 2 and 3, angles 3 and 4, and angles 1 and 4. Linear pairs are a special type of supplementary angles because they are adjacent to each other. They share a common side. This means the measurement of all linear pairs add to 180 degrees. Vertical angles are also formed by the intersection of two lines. Vertical angles do not have a common side, but their sides form two pairs of opposite rays. The angles have the same vertex, but they are on opposite sides of the intersection. We have two pairs of vertical angles, angles 1 and 3, and angles 2 and 4. Vertical angles are always congruent to each other, meaning they have the same measurement. If we add an additional line to our diagram that intersects one of the original lines in a new place, a transversal is formed. A transversal is a line that passes through two lines in the same plane at two distinct points. Here we see the transversal highlighted. Since the transversal intersects multiple lines, new angles are formed that have their own angle pair relationships. Not only are new linear pairs and vertical angles, but additional angle pair relationships are formed between these two intersections. The first relationship formed is corresponding angles. Corresponding angles occupy the same relative position at each intersection of the transversal. If we were to cut the intersection point out of one line and place it over the other line, the corresponding angles would appear on top of each other. I like to name each angle with a location, like angle 1 is the top left of its intersection. Then look at the other intersection and notice angle 5 is also on the top left. Therefore, these angles correspond with each other. Angle 2 and angle 6 are on the top right, so they correspond. Angles 3 and 7 are on the bottom right of their respective intersections, so they correspond. And angles 4 and 8 are both on the bottom left, so they correspond. An important property about corresponding angles is if both non-transversal lines are parallel, the corresponding angles will be congruent. Another notable angle pair relationship is alternate interior angles. Let's break that name down. Alternate is talking about different sides of the transversal. So this transversal has a left side and a right side. Alternate angles will be on opposite sides of the transversal. Interior means inside, so we were looking for the angles that are between the two lines. So angles 3, 4, 5, and 6 are interior angles. To be alternate interior angles, the angle pairs would have to be on opposite sides of the transversal and between the lines. So the alternate interior angle to angle 4 is angle 6, and the alternate interior angle to angle 3 is angle 5. Like corresponding angles, if the two lines are parallel, then the alternate interior angles are congruent. Alternate exterior angle pairs, like alternate interior angles, will be on opposite sides of the transversal, but now both angles will be outside of the two lines. Angles 1, 2, 8, and 7 are exterior angles, but the pairs that alternate the transversal are angles 1 and 7 and angles 2 and 8. Like alternate interior angles and corresponding angles, if the two lines are parallel, the alternate exterior angles are congruent. Consecutive interior angles, or same-side interior angles, are two angles that lie between the two lines, but this time they are on the same side of the transversal. Angles 4 and 5 are both on the left side of the transversal, making them consecutive, and they are between the two lines, making them interior. Unlike the other angle pairs we have talked about, If the two lines are parallel, the consecutive interior angles are supplementary. It should be obvious that they are not congruent considering in this diagram, the two lines appear to be close to parallel, and angle 4 is acute and angle 5 is obtuse. They are not congruent, but they are supplementary as long as the lines are parallel. Here we have another example of angle pair relationships. This time, the two lines are clearly not parallel. In fact, they intersect if we just extended them a little bit more. But we still have the same angle pair relationships. We now know that they are not going to be congruent or supplementary to each other. So here, our corresponding angles, remember the angles that have the same relative position, are 1 and 5, 2 and 6, 3 and 7, and 4 and 8. 1 is the top left angle, 5 is the top left angle, 8 is the bottom left angle, 4 is the bottom left angle. That's what makes them correspond with each other. There's also alternate interior angles. Angles 2 and 8 are on different sides of the transversal. One's on the top, one's on the bottom. And they're interior of these two lines. So that makes them alternate interior angles. The other alternate interior angles are 3 and 5. We also have alternate exterior angles. 4 and 6 alternate. They're on different sides of the transversal, and they're outside of the two lines, so they're exterior. And 1 and 7 also alternate on the transversal and are outside the other two lines. We also have consecutive interior angles 2 and 5. They are on the same side of the transversal and in between the two lines. So consecutive on the same side of the transversal, interior between the two lines. And 3 and 8 are also on the same side of the transversal, this time the bottom side, and they are in between the two lines.